on the racetrack, and that clock, by the way, is about to expire. Group A cars were able to go out twice, a pair of 20-minute practice sessions. Group B drivers, twice, a pair of 20-minute practice sessions. Group A is done. Group B will be done in 55 seconds. The top 10 on individual lap speed was led by Tyler Reddick.
Followed by Ross Chastain, Kyle Larson third, Shane Van Gisbergen fourth, Denny Hamlin fifth, and Joey Logano sixth, Austin Cindric seventh, Ryan Blaney eighth, Corey LaJoie ninth, and Noah Gragson 10th.
And those 10 will be obviously debatable as we get ready to go qualifying coming up shortly. Everybody is concerned about long run speed. Do you have it or do you not? Here are the top 10s that have it in 15 lap average.
And it's Michael McDowell pacing the way there, followed by Tyler Reddick, Ross Chastain, Shane Van Gisbergen, and Brad Keselowski, the fast five in the consecutive 15 lap average. 6 through 10 on the 15 lap run would be, well, check that. Cindric just went to the number 5 spot on the 15 lap average. That pushes Brad Keselowski to 6th. Denny Hamlin to 7th, Noah Gragson 8th, Chase Briscoe 9th, and Christopher Bell 10th.
So Christopher Bell also now popping up inside the top 10 in those 15 lap averages. That's how it shakes down. Practice is indeed over here at the Glen. Practice over, qualifying on deck from Watkins Glen International. This is the Motor Racing Network, the voice of NASCAR.
We are getting ready to crown a champion.
Championship weekend is coming back to the desert.
Let's get this party started.
4 title races in 3 days means there will be a buzz in the air all weekend long. Whether from the grandstands, the infield experience, or the hillside, this is your chance to witness history and make championship caliber memories for the whole family. NASCAR Championship Weekend at Phoenix Raceway, November 8th through the 10th. Get your tickets now at phoenixraceway.com.
For 3 decades, Racing Electronics has been the #1 choice for scanners, headsets, and all race day communications needs. Racing Electronics provides the ultimate fan experience for the ultimate NASCAR fan. Hear uncensored communication from every team in the race with a scanner from Racing Electronics, or tune into the MRN radio broadcast. To learn more, visit racingelectronics.com today. Be race ready, be RE equipped.
Tyler Reddick is the fastest man on the property so far. He leads practice, and now he's with the postman.
Yes, indeed. Tyler Reddick's got 5 minutes to climb aboard the car. Tyler, how was your race car?
It was really solid in practice. Everyone at 2311 brought a really fast Toyota Camry, so excited to get this beast unleashed here in qualifying and try to make it in round 2 and fight for the pole.
There we go. We'll see what happens with it. That's Tyler Reddick. He is ready to go. Literally, we're standing there talking, and Billy Scott come up and said, you got 5 minutes to get in the car, so Tyler Reddick is climbing aboard. He is part of the Group A drivers as they get ready to go out and do their qualifying run.
We'll explain qualifying in just a moment. From Watkins Glen International, this is the Motor Racing Network, the voice of NASCAR.
You crave power. You bleed speed. You live for the roar of the crowd and the taste of victory. But your ride is holding you back. Ignite your engine's soul with E3 spark plugs. The same spark that fuels NASCAR champions unleashes explosive power in your ride. Don't just dream of speed. Make it your reality. Find E3 at your nearest auto parts store. E3 spark plugs. E3, what are you running?
Keep up with all of the action during the 2024 NASCAR season with NASCAR Today.
William Byron has won the Daytona 500.
Every weekday throughout the season, we'll bring you the latest news and insights.
At that point, I really had in my mind, okay, we can really win this.
As we count down the days to championship weekend in Phoenix.
It's surreal still. I can't believe I'm in this position.
I'm Chase Elliott. Listen to NASCAR Today every weekday right here on the Motor Racing Network.
preparing to qualify for the Go Bowling at the Glen from Watkins Glen International. And here's how they're going to do it for the NASCAR Cup Series. We already have the Group A and Group B drivers. First up will be the Group A drivers. 15 minutes will go on the clock, and then these drivers will all have the opportunity anytime in that 15 minutes to go out and run one lap, 2, 3, 4, 5, however many they want to run to get their best lap in. The idea to be part of the 5 fastest from Group A. If you are, when the 15 minutes expire, you'll go to the second round of qualifying, and then the Group B drivers will come on the racetrack and put the same process. 15 minutes on the clock. Fast 5 from Group B will join the Fast 5 from Group A. Those 10 will run for pole position.
And let's remind you of the Group A cars getting ready to qualify. They include Joey Logano, his teammate Ryan Blaney, Tyler Reddick, who was the quickest man in practice, Chase Elliott, Brad Keselowski, Denny Hamlin, Kyle Larson, he'll be ready to go, Chase Briscoe and Ross Chastain among those drivers getting ready in Group A.
And this is a speed palace, Jeff. When we talk about it, this road course varies so much from other tracks that we race on, whether it be Sonoma or Circuit of the Americas. The history that comes along with running here at Watkins Glen International. Todd, you phrased it earlier, a speedway type of road course. Why is that?
It's just there's the corners here are more sweeping. It's just it plays to momentum and making good speed and getting yourself into certain braking zones. But this isn't about stopping and starting and beating people with drive. You beat people with rolling more speed around this race course. It's different than the other places that we go to in that respect, and definitely a place that's more like a super speedway. Aerodynamics play, but the tires have driven you in a different position. Going to be really exciting to see how this qualifying ends up.
Yeah, and when you talk about history here, this track has so much of that. We were mentioning yesterday our ARCA broadcast, drivers like Jimmy Clark and Graham Hill have gone to victory lane here. Formula One has been here. I think most every discipline has been here over the years. And when you talk about a historic racetrack, this has to be at the top of the list or close.
It really does, and this is a global destination for motorsports and especially for road racing enthusiasts. Now, it's debatable whether we're on top of a mountain or on top of a hill. That can be argued until the sun goes down and comes back up tomorrow. But at the base of where we're at Seneca Lake, is the village of Watkins Glen. That's where they used to race. That's where the start-finish line is. It's still painted down there. They keep it up nicely in the heritage here. And Jeff, you and I, and Todd, I'm sure you have as well, we've taken the opportunity in our rental cars to drive around the countryside, up and down, all the elevation changes, the narrow roads on what used to be the race course here before they finally said, you know what, this is really dangerous. A lot of people are getting hurt. A lot of lives had been lost racing and competing here, including some spectators. So they got together and said, we need to do this. We need to build this race course. And here it is, and it is absolutely a gem of a facility.
And Todd, you grew up around here. I can tell a quick story regarding the Sports Car Club of America, the SCCA. They run all around the country, and if you were a part of that organization, they would invite you to come over and marshal the racetrack. And my dad back in the 60s used to make his run over here and be a part of that before all of this, developed and grew into what we have here today. But, when you talk about this being historic and you look at the list of the names, all you want to do as an organization, as a team, and as a driver, and as a crew chief, add your name to that list.
Yeah, definitely. It's a storied history, and it's had some bumps in it, but NASCAR took it over in the 80s and brought it back to what it is today, which is a great venue that puts on phenomenal racing and great opportunities to see side-by-side racing, and love just the whole passion that everybody has coming to this racetrack.
Qualifying officially underway for the Group A drivers. Once again, worth noting, there is an alternate start-finish line. It is on the straightaway between turns 5 and 6. Again, that's just simply for when a driver finishes their timed lap, they can immediately get the car to pit lane. But we are officially now on the clock.
I gave you some of the drivers. Of the 19, the rest include in this group Ricky Stenhouse Jr. and Justin Haley. Corey LaJoie, who was among the 10 fastest individual lap speed Bubba Wallace, who was not in this group. Michael McDowell, he's going to be good. Chris Buescher, Noah Gragson, he's going to be good. Shane Van Gisbergen, all eyes will be on him. How fast can he go? Kaz Grala and Juan Pablo Montoya, and we are officially underway. Pole qualifying for the Go Bowling at the Glen.
It's been a virtually cloudless day, and practice was all sunny. Right now there are some big puffy white clouds coming overhead, and a lot of this facility is in cloud cover. So Todd begs the question, and I'll make it a two-part question. Do the cloud covers make the temperatures obviously cooler, help speeds here and grip? And then the second part of that question, after basically 80 minutes of practice, how much are the track conditions changing from practice to where we are now?
Well, they will continue to clean up. As we've seen in qualifying, the colder tires going out there, if there's rubber on the racetrack, they'll pick a little bit of that up. The clouds definitely will have an impact. As you get the sunshine off of this surface that was repaved in end of 2015 into 2016, when the sun's on it, the track gets hotter. The tires slide around more on it. As we see the clouds come over the racetrack, you have opportunities here to gain a little bit of grip. Should be a little bit of pace.
8 of the 19 have already completed a lap. Ross Chastain, you heard from him a moment ago talking about how good that car is, and it is good. He's gone to the top. Noah Gragson, second quick. Michael McDowell, third. Chase Elliott, fourth. And Kyle Larson, fifth quick. Still a long way to go. A number of drivers that have yet to come across the line, and a lot of time still left on the clock.
Think about that. You mentioned some of the drivers that yet do that. They had 15 minutes and still have 11 minutes and 10 seconds remaining. So a lot of these drivers are yet to get out there on the racetrack. So Todd Gordon begs the question, are there gamesmanship type things being played out and when you send your driver on the racetrack?
I've always felt that most of these road course races, qualifying efforts, when we had the time sessions, the fastest laps will be run at the end of the session. Racetrack gets cleaner, it gets a little bit of rubber picked up. It just seems like you can run faster at the end of the session than you can at the beginning. So waiting to go out later, not an uncommon philosophy.
All right, let's hear from Christopher Bell right now. Logano on the clock, Reddick on the clock, Hamlin on the clock, and Christopher Bell with Chris Wilner.
And Christopher Bell's looking at qualifying right now for Group A. I know the short run speed isn't where you guys wanted to be, but what kind of changes do you think you could make to get this thing a little faster?
I don't know. I think that I think it drove a lot better in the second round of practice than it did the first round of practice. I honestly haven't even really looked at the lap time speed. So it's a different Watkins Glen than what we're accustomed to with the lack of, or the more tire degradation, the more lap time fall off. There's marbles all over the place. So see what we can do here in qualifying, but I definitely felt a lot better about my car there that second practice.
Obviously, with the amount of practice that's been here, rubbers on the racetrack, how has that made the track change a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, it just made it very, very important to make sure that you hit your marks and hit your lines. You know, I was just trying to err on the side of cautious to not get off in the marbles and make a mistake. So it's going to be interesting tomorrow whenever we got to go too wide through the S.
All right, thank you so much. That's Christopher Bell. Guys are going to continue to diagnose and work on that number 20 Toyota for Joe Gibbs Racing. And, of course, it's a big welcome back to Adam Stevens, who's back on the pit box as well at the racetrack here. So excited to see him back, and I know this crew will be ready to go and send Christopher out for qualifying.
Yeah, it's great to have Adam Stevens back at the track. If you don't know where he's been the last handful of races, well, back during the Olympic break, he was at home with the kids and having diving competitions at his swimming pool off the diving board. He tried to put a little extra into it and ruptured both patellar tendons at the same time. I can't imagine the pain he was in, but had to have surgery on both of his knees. And while he missed being at the racetrack, he was still very part of calling the races that he was not at boots on the ground. He was back at the war room at Joe Gibbs Racing. So to have him back here at the racetrack is a big boost, as Joey Logano has just gone to the number 2 spot.
Yeah, Ross Chastain, Joey, Noah Gragson, Michael McDowell, Chase Elliott, top 5, Shane Van Gisbergen out onto the front straightaway, already into his flyer lap. Downshifting, going downhill, the 90-degree turn number 1. Shane Van Gisbergen is out. Tyler Reddick, let's hear about Tyler. He has, come out, and he is currently 6th quick. That's not going to be fast enough, Posty.
No, it's not, and their lap started off even a little off the pace. They rolled out the racetrack, and what's happened is everyone stopped down here entering the racetrack, and then one at a time they're rolling out to give themselves some space. For whatever reason, Joey Logano didn't go as fast as Tyler Reddick wanted him to go to get up to speed, and so they at one time considered going past Joey Logano. They made the decision to slow down and wait a little bit, and that ultimately got their speed slowed down. I believe they encountered a lap car out on the racetrack right now. Tyler Reddick just cued the radio at the end of the lap and said just terrible, just absolutely terrible. So they brought the car in. We're going to see. We've got 7 minutes and 30 seconds left. We're going to see if they can cool it down and get them back out for another lap. But they had all kinds of issues on that lap for what has been one of the faster cars here. Mind it, longer runs, but they were hoping for more on a qualifying lap for Tyler Reddick.
We have a new fastest car in qualifying right now after a second lap on the racetrack.
Shane Van Gisbergen has gone to the top, bumping Ross Chastain back to second, Logano back to third, Noah Gragson fourth, and Michael McDowell fifth, and kicking Chase Elliott, who was on the bubble, outside of the top 5. He is 6th quick in front of Tyler Reddick, Denny, Kyle Larson, Chris Buescher, fast 10. And let's remind everybody, because it bears repeating, on a road course like we have here, you've got time. There's time on the clock. Time is expiring down to 6 minutes and 40 seconds. But just because you went out and cut a lap, you're not done if you don't want to be.
No, you can go back out as many times as you want. The problem is with this new, softer Goodyear Eagle tire, the more laps you put on it, the slower it's going to get. So I look at Shane Van Gisbergen. He ran 2 hard qualifying laps. Yeah, he's the fastest and in position to move on to the next round, but everybody else in the top 5, that's Chastain, Logano, Gragson, and McDowell, only ran 1 hard lap.
Yeah, that'll should be a penalty come round 2. Granted that he makes it to that. I think that that 122-mile-an-hour lap should put him in the final 5.
And by penalty, he means the more you run those Goodyear Racing Eagles, the slower that car may get. Bubba Wallace and Ricky Stenhouse Jr., the only 2 cars of the 19 that have yet to turn a time. Stenhouse is on the racetrack. Everybody now shooting for that 1 minute, 12 seconds, .227 on the clock. That was just turned a moment ago by Shane Van Gisbergen. He is on top, waiting on Bubba Wallace. What do you hear down there, Posty?
Bubba Wallace sits aboard the Mobil 1 Toyota. The crew is down here. They're waiting to the final moment. They just fired the engine up to make sure the temperatures were good, and now they've shut the engine off. They're cooling everything down on Bubba Wallace's race car. It is going to be one and done for Bubba. They've got this figured out as to what time they need to roll this race car, and they are just watching the countdown and watching it go, waiting for the crew members to lower the hood on Bubba Wallace's car. He'll gas it up and hit the racetrack for a one and done qualifying lap, and we're still waiting on that to happen, and we'll see what happens with Bubba Wallace, but right now just anxiously awaiting for him. The challenge with this to me though is I wonder if other drivers going out for other laps might impede on that. We'll have to see what happens as Bubba Wallace still sits here on pit road.
The other piece that could be a challenge here is you save this for the end. If somebody goes off track and a yellow gets thrown, you don't have a lap of time of record. You're going to be starting in the back. Just one of those risk and reward operations that Booty Barker's taken advantage of.
It's a gamble. It really is. The only other driver that had yet to get a qualifying lap was Ricky Stenhouse Jr. He just did in the old El Paso Chevrolet. He's going to the number 9 spot. Obviously not good enough. Top 5 will advance to round 2. And right now, those fast 5 are Shane Van Gisbergen, Ross Chastain, Joey Logano, Noah Gragson, and Michael McDowell.
Bubba Wallace still sitting on pit road. Brad Keselowski back out. The rest of the running order, Alex just gave you the fast 5. 6th, Chase Elliott. 7th, Tyler Reddick. Denny Hamlin, 8th. Stenhouse, 9th. And Kyle Larson completes the fast 10.
We're down to 3 minutes and 40 seconds to go here in the Group A, round number 1 of qualifying. You have to get to the alternate start-finish line to start the clock before the official clock hits triple zeros. So that is going to be the gamble for Bubba Wallace and some of these other drivers that want to get more laps out there. You got to get going out there, and as long as you get to that alternate start finish line before turn number 6, you'll be able to continue on even though the clock may get to 0.
Kyle Larson coming back out. Chase Elliott and Juan Pablo Montoya. Kaz Grala coming back out. I believe that was Michael McDowell that was rolling. Michael right now on the bubble in 5th. No sign yet of Bubba Wallace as Tyler Reddick, his teammate, rolls away. How long do you wait? Obviously, it's going to be a one-shot. Throw everything you've got at it. Hope it sticks. Noah Gragson rolling. Denny Hamlin rolling. Briscoe is rolling. The track is going to be busy, and now here comes Bubba Wallace.
He'll fire up the Mobil 1 Toyota and pull out onto the pit lane and work his way around. We're down to 2.5 minutes to go. The other thing is, if Bubba makes one small mistake out there and overdrives a corner or kills the lap, he won't have another opportunity to go back out there and try to get another lap after cooling the engine down. We're trying to see if anybody will bump their way into the top 5. Right now, nobody has been successful on this second opportunity.
Kyle Larson has put 2 laps in. He's no quicker than 10th at the moment. Buescher 3 in and 11th quick. Brad Keselowski 3 in and 12th quick. Chase Elliott, the odd man out right now, but he is on the racetrack. Elliott 6th quick. Michael McDowell has just turned his 2nd lap, does not advance. He will stay on the bubble 5th quick, and hoping now that will hold up and advance him into the 2nd round.
He's going to have to hold his breath for another 1:37 seconds and counting. So the drivers continue on. As a matter of fact, Michael McDowell's going to stay on the track and try to dig for a little bit more to try to improve and get himself off of a very fragile bubble.
Noah Gragson, lap 2, no quicker, but right now he is 4th quick, and 4th is good enough at the moment. We do see Ryan Blaney is out. Larson still out. Reddick is still out. No reason for Shane Van Gisbergen to even bother moving. He's already on top. Chastain hasn't moved, and Joey Logano, Joey, I believe, is actually back out on the racetrack. Bubba Wallace coming across the line right now.
With everybody else having multiple laps on their tires, I don't expect the pace to pick up. The one driver that could is Bubba Wallace. He waited. We documented that. We're down to 45 seconds. Bubba Wallace makes his way off the 90, heads now up the backstretch, or up the S's, I should say, headed for the back straightaway with the fresh tires, and we'll see what kind of lap Bubba Wallace can put in.
At speeds approaching 170 miles an hour, downshifting through the inner loop goes Bubba Wallace. That is a right, left, right-hander leading into turn number 5. Once he completes the carousel, turn 5, that will take him back to the timing line. One shot and one shot only for Bubba Wallace.
We'll wait for him to get to the alternate start-finish line between turns 5 and 6. Bubba on the racetrack trying to get all he can as we've come down to the red and black flags. The clock has gone to 0. Did Bubba Wallace get the job done?
Not even close. 16th quick for Bubba Wallace. Top 5, and it may not change. Van Gisbergen, P1. He is the quickest man in session number 1, or Group A. So the top 5, Shane Van Gisbergen, Ross Chastain, Joey Logano, Noah Gragson, and Michael McDowell.
Group B drivers set to qualify next. From Watkins Glen International, this is the Motor Racing Network, the voice of NASCAR.
From the infield garages to the race shops, NASCAR Hot Pass is your all-access ticket to the latest news from the sport.
Well, we got them down, now we put our foot on them. And that's the attitude you got to have.
I don't think it's a move that can have any success at Martinsville. I still don't know why it worked.
Stay up to date with all of your favorite drivers all year long.
Get to the Final Four is what every driver in NASCAR's goals are.
NASCAR Hot Pass, weekday mornings from the Motor Racing Network.
The year was 1993. The NASCAR Cup Series season kicked off with the Dale and Dale show at the Daytona 500.
Dale Jarrett's got the lead. He goes to the inside. Earnhardt's not going to get him. Dale Jarrett is going to win the Daytona 500 by STP. Earnhardt second.
The 1993 NASCAR Cup Series season. All the highs and lows. Relive them all on MRN's exclusive podcast, The 1993 Season. Available on podcast platforms and MRN.com.
Back at Watkins Glen, Group A drivers have had their qualifying session time expire. Fast 5 move on to the next round. Jeff, how's it break down?
Well, it's Shane Van Gisbergen, Ross Chastain, Joey Logano. Then you've got Noah Gragson and Michael McDowell. 2 Chevrolets, 3 Fords, no Toyotas, and 5 different organizations among your Fast 5. Colleague representing SVG, Trackhouse, and Ross Chastain. Penske and Joey Logano. Stewart Haas Racing and Noah Gragson. Front Row Motorsports with Michael McDowell.
Pole qualifying on MRN for the Go Bowling at the Glen is brought to you by E3 Spark Plugs. Stuck in slow motion? Unleash the NASCAR fire inside your engine with E3 Spark Plugs. Forget pit stops, too. E3 gives you maximum fuel efficiency for more miles on the road and less time at the pump. E3 Spark Plugs. Power, speed, domination. Get yours today.
And by the way, Chase Briscoe was still on course as we gave you the top 5. He came across the line 6th quick. Close for Briscoe. Unfortunately, he will be watching round number 2 when we get to that point. We've got Group B cars, round 1 qualifying coming your way for them, and that'll be next from Watkins Glen International. This is the Motor Racing Network, the voice of NASCAR.
Hey, I hear you think podcasts are all about true crime, huh? Well, wise guy, the iHeartRadio app's got all kinds of podcasts. We got stuff you should know and stuff they don't want you to know. We got Bobby Bones, Big Boy, and Lou Later. We got SpongeBob Binge Pants and Exotic Erotic Story Time. We got Doughboys, Two Dudes in the Kitchen, Green Eggs and Dan. Hey, we got Elf Quest. We got podcasts for everything on the iHeartRadio app for free. If you don't download that, well, that's not just a true crime, my friend. That's criminal.
Looking for motorsports podcasts you won't find anywhere else? Check out the Motor Racing Network's lineup of exclusive podcasts. MRN Classic Races, Junior's Journey, The Many Hats of Jack Roush, Richard Petty, Road to Royalty, 50 Years of MRN, Jeff Gordon, A Colorful Career, and The Tough Trucks of NASCAR. Find these and more MRN exclusive podcasts on podcast providers and MRN.com.
Van Gisbergen moving on. Chastain, Logano, Michael McDowell, and the driver standing with Chris Wilner.
And that is Noah Gragson, who clocked in 4th quick in that Group A qualifying session. So the speed is there. And, boy, a good qualifying run for you. How would you assess that? And maybe what more can you pick up for the second and final round?
Yeah, it seems like there's a lot of tire fall off. So we've seen that with the guys testing here. And I've never really been great here, but we put a lot of work in on the sim and just thankful for this Bed Bath & Beyond team. It's a fun track. I've never been here in a Cup car before, so we ran 2 runs in that first round. We were getting practice, but those 2 runs, it seemed like it was, quite a bit of fall off, 6, 7 tenths. So I need to look and see which guys only ran 1 lap compared to us rerunning. We were in 4th, so we wanted to rerun, see if we could go faster, but it was slower. So overall, good to transfer into the second round and qualifying. I think this is our first road course this year we've done that. So I'm proud of the team, and hopefully we can get them in the second round of qualifying.
And I noticed you also have road racing ace Joey Hand around here offering some pointers as well. So how cool has that been to have him around? Just, a guy who's done this for a living.
Yeah, I call him Joey Hamilton. But no, he's been great. He's worked with all of us SHR drivers at all the road courses this year, and I've learned a tremendous amount from him. He's a class act road courser, racer, and to be able to learn off him and try and figure it out and get better. Like I said, I've never been here before in a Cup car, so trying to feel it out. Big thanks to Ford and Ford Performance for allowing us to get sim time. I felt like the sim was super close coming to this track, so that allowed us to prepare and be pretty good when we unloaded.
All right, best of luck in qualifying. Noah Gragson using also Joey Hand with SHR, trying to offer some road course pointers, but not too bad for your first time here in a Cup car, qualifying in 4th so far and going to go into the final round. Steve Post?
Well, qualifying in the 5th spot in the Group A cars, Michael McDowell. Michael, assess your qualifying run.
Not the best. I mean, our Binnabone Ford Mustang, has had good speed, good long run speed, but just not firing off quite like we needed to there, and bummed out I had to make a second run there because that's obviously going to hurt this final round. But, glad to make it in the second round, make some adjustments. But wish I would have got a cleaner first lap so I didn't have to make that second run. But that we did, and a few other guys did as well. So we'll see how this round goes. But we'll make a few changes here and see if we can pick up a little bit.
Okay, let's talk about tomorrow. You talked about long run speed. I think the 15-lap average, you might have among the best here. A top 10 starting spot, we know that for sure. What does that mean for you tomorrow with this race car?
Yeah, I feel great about our long run speed. Our car held on really well. Felt like we nailed that, especially that second practice there. Probably one of the best cars, or definitely one of the best, top 2 or 3 cars. So we're in the game, but mind shift changes. You go right out of practice, forgetting about the race and just thinking about qualifying, but feel good about what we had in that long run.
We'll see what happens with it. He's going to start in the top 10. He's made it onto the final round here. That's Michael McDowell.
Solid effort for Michael McDowell and his team going on to the next round. Same for Noah Gregson and his team. I think Michael was spot on, Jeff, when he said that he didn't get a clean run on his first hard lap and had to go a second, given what we saw in the practice session, just how much these tires and lap times slow down when you put more laps on them.
I don't know this to be official, but nobody improved on either their second or third lap. Everybody ran it, but they didn't climb the leaderboard. So Michael McDowell absolutely laying it out as it's going to be. As we get ready now with A.J. Allmendinger, another group getting ready to go. Group B, A.J. Allmendinger, John Hunter Nemechek, Josh Berry, Eric Jones will be on track, along with Zane Smith and Ryan Preece, Todd Gilliland, Austin Dillon, and Daniel Hemrick.
With Carson Hocevar, Kyle Busch, Martin Truex Jr., Harrison Burton, Ty Gibbs, Austin Cindric, William Byron, Alex Bowman, Daniel Suarez, and Christopher Bell.
Denny Hamlin, by the way, the driver that led the field to the green flag here 1 year ago. So we know 5. We need another 5 to join Shane Van Gisbergen, Ross Chastain, Logano, Noah Gregson, and Michael McDowell. That was your Fast 5. You try to be the Fast 5 postman, and there are some days you come up so just very short.
And it was right at the end. Chase Briscoe just missed it by just a little bit. Chase, 6th place run here. Overall, though, you assess how your car is, how you feel about what you have here for this weekend.
Yeah, I don't know. My car's weird, really. Like, I don't really know what to think of it. It doesn't drive that bad, and then we were kind of off on speed, and then that, almost 6/10. So seems like the long run's kind of our stronger suit. So yeah, I think we need to get our car a little bit better for sure, but definitely saved ourselves a ton there. We were going to be starting probably 25th, and now we're starting 12th, and I think we're the second highest playoff guy in our group. So that was a big swing for us for sure.
How much do you pay attention to that? You just said the second half playoff guy, only one playoff guy in your group. How important is that to you to keep an eye on that as we roll into tomorrow?
It's huge.
It's in 15 or so seconds to go here in this session for qualifying. Martin Truex Jr., Jeff, has jumped to the top of the leaderboard.
Boy, he just turned a very, very fast lap. 1:11.811. That's a minute 11 seconds. Truex, Bowman, Cindric, Byron, Kyle Busch early on. Let's hear from another driver as we head to pit road.
Chris Buescher down here. We're hanging out. It's ironic. We got 2 MRN guys, Chris Wilner, Chris Buescher, and yours truly down here. Chris, assess the practice session and your qualifying lap. How did this morning go for you guys?
Practice went pretty well. We learned some things. We had some really good long run speed. Obviously, there's been a ton of talk about this tire and the fall off, and it's definitely there. So we're ready for it. I believe our team's done a really nice job and prepped us. Qualifying, sure we didn't get what we wanted out of that one, so had to go to work and pass a bunch of cars tomorrow. But you know what? We've got endless possibilities. Nothing to lose here and everything to gain now.
This racetrack, it's the super speedway of road courses. What are some of the unique qualities of this Watkins Glen course that we don't see anyplace else?
Well, without the bus stop jump, the place just got faster yet. So we're just flying around this place compared to anywhere else we go, and there's still a lot of grip in it, but it's truly aging. But it's just fast, and it's hard to hit your marks and be really consistent. But if you can do it and take care of the tire, I think we can find ourselves in a good position to be in the hunt to win another race.
I am sure they will. That's Chris Buescher, one of our best road racers here on the NASCAR Cup Tour, and we'll see what he does here as he is looking for a good day tomorrow here at Watkins Glen.
I would say he is, Steve. He's finished top 10 in 12 of the last 14 road course races in his NASCAR Cup Series career. So the young man knows how to drive, turning both left and right. Martin Truex Jr., the fastest so far in Group B, with Alex Bowman second quick. Austin Cindric third, William Byron is fourth, and Kyle Busch is on the bubble in fifth. Some eyebrow raisers in there, given as wonky as the practice session was for Kyle Busch. Had a spin, had just an ill-handling race car, finds himself fifth right now.
Alex Bowman, who was well outside of the top 25, showing up second quick. So that means there's some drivers that we expected to see perhaps in the top 5 that aren't there. Bell right now seventh. Ty Gibbs is a head scratcher. He is sixth quick. He was very quick in practice. And that's going to change. Daniel Suarez coming across the line. So it's Suarez now has gone to third. Byron is back to the bubble spot of fifth, kicking Kyle Busch to the outside, looking in.
Yeah, as there's more drivers on the track right now. Daniel Hemrick and A.J. Allmendinger both on the racetrack, 2 colleague entries. They're going to get their timed lap and see where they can shake out now. A lot of people focusing on A.J. Allmendinger, certainly one that knows how to win here at Watkins Glen.
Right now he is climbing the hill over in 2, 3, and 4. Out onto the back straightaway goes A.J. Allmendinger again all the way to 170, 175 before he hits the brakes and heads to the inner loop.
So A.J. Allmendinger hard on the brakes, works his way through the inner loop. He's got the Go Bowling colors on board this weekend. In turn number 5, the alternate finish line is going to be on this short straightaway as he's on right now.
So he is trying to get into the top 5, talking about A.J. Allmendinger, and he will do it, but he will be 5th quick on the bubble for A.J. Top 5 at the moment, Truex. Number 1, Alex Bowman, 2nd, Cindric, 3rd, Suarez, 4th, and now A.J. Allmendinger in a position you don't want to be in, and that is 5th quick and on the bubble.
Yeah, and he took 2 laps to get there, as did Daniel Suarez, who is 4th quick. So that second hard lap on those tires could be detrimental. We'll wait and see when it plays out and it's all said and done, as we're down to 7 minutes now remaining here in the Group B qualifying.
And we'll see him, at least a majority of these, back out. What are you trying to accomplish right now with the track down? Obviously the track is green, but there's really nobody out there. Everybody's gone out. Everybody's on pit road. What are you doing to the race car right now, Todd, getting it ready to go back out?
Well, if you're sitting here in round 2 or Group B here and not in the top 5, you're just digesting this whole thing and dissecting it with your driver about what you need, where you need to be better. You're looking at the SMT data compared to Martin Truex Jr. He's the fastest car so fast, so we're comparing those things, asking the driver what he needs to do that, trying to come up with the air pressure adjustments we can do to make that happen. Steve Post, you got more?
Well, A.J. Allmendinger, you guys talked about it and said he's in the unenviable 5th spot. Might be in a good spot here because we haven't seen many cars go faster. What they're going to do, first and foremost, they asked AJ about the race car. He said the balance was really good. They've really hit on something pretty good here in that final practice session. So pretty happy with the race car. What they're going to do, they're going to sit along pit road. They're monitoring every other team. Who's ran 1 lap? Who's ran 2 laps? Is there anybody, and I don't think there is, that hasn't gone out yet? And they're going to monitor that. And if they feel like there's jeopardy of getting bumped out of that 5th place spot, they'll get the car car, cool down, and send AJ back out. So right now it is a waiting game and see, get ready, be in the ready position. They know right when the last moment is they need to go out on the racetrack, and we'll see if they have to go out and run another lap. They did have to run 2 laps. That's less than optimal. They would have preferred to do it in 1 lap, but they did have to run 2 laps. They're hoping not to run a 3rd here, but they're ready should they feel the threat to get bumped out of the top 5 is imminent.
Zane Smith is on the racetrack trying to improve his time. His fastest lap so far is good enough only for the 15th position. Zane Smith making his first Cup Series start here at Watkins Glen. He has got a top 10 here when he ran in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series.
You know, going back to Steve's point, monitoring the other teams, virtually everybody except for Zane Smith and Daniel Hemrick have only 1 lap on their tires. William Byron, Bush, Gibbs, Bell, Austin, Dillon, all with only 1 lap on their tires, and we'll see them back out shortly. Let's go back downstairs. Chris Wilner.
And Brad Keselowski, who missed out of Group A, is watching this session. Brad, what were you missing in your qualifying session that failed to advance?
Yeah, about 4/10. So got to go figure out how we can find a little more speed in race trim. I felt like actually our practice was really good. So qualifying trim, some things I definitely need to do better, but we'll see what we have for tomorrow. That's what counts.
With the fall off that we've seen, is there opportunities to get yourself through the field, change some strategy with how these tires are performing?
Yeah, certainly more so than years prior. It should be really interesting. The track is a lot different with these tires, and I think you'll see a different race.
All right, that's Brad Keselowski, guys. He's going to have to drive through the field on Sunday, but again, a driver who's just below the cut line, minus 1 point, in fact, certainly gives him a lot of opportunity to maybe play the different strategy game come tomorrow.
Yep, got the bright orange and blue Kings Hawaiian colors on board his Ford Mustang Dark Horse this weekend. We're down to 3 minutes and 37 seconds and counting here in Group B qualifying.
Christopher Bell will take to the racetrack right now, and I believe he is the only one on the track as he exits pit road down by turn number 1. Harrison Burton, time to go. Ryan Preece, time to go. Carson Hocevar coming back out. John Hunter Nemechek, things are about to pick up. Nobody's saved like Bubba did. Everybody has already cut at least 1 lap. Objective now, Alex, pretty clear. Make it into the top 5 or watch round number 2.
Problem is all the names you were just giving of drivers rolling heading on the racetrack. Is it going to be a crowded track? Is somebody going to get an impeded lap out there? Who's going to be able to find enough space and gap out there, Todd, to get the lap that you're going to need?
And we saw that in Xfinity qualifying. Cole Custer had a lap that was going to get him transferred. He ran up on the back of the slower 15 car and couldn't get himself there. You got to try to create your gaps here coming to the alternate start-finish line and have yourself an opportunity, and you hope that nobody has an incident that brings a yellow out.
So you've got Byron and Bell, Dillon and Preece, Hocevar and Barry, Burton, Nemechek, Todd Gilliland. They're all out on the racetrack right now. A.J. Allmendinger in the race car, window net up, ready to go if need be, sitting 5th and on the bubble. So it's Truex in at the moment, Bowman, Cindric, Suarez, and Allmendinger. And now AJ is going to have to sit and wait and watch.
Yeah, this is going to be a heck of a time to wait this out. You don't necessarily want to go back out and try to improve your position, given the fact that you don't want to put more laps on your tires just in case you do advance to the next round. But with guys like Kyle Busch and William Byron who are back on the racetrack, you're in a very difficult spot.
So just trying to see, it should be Bell, the first one to complete a lap. I believe he was the first one to come off and come around. Right now, Bell sitting 9th quick. So we'll just have to sit, wait, watch the leaderboard, and see how it shakes out. I think it's pretty safe to say that Martin Truex Jr. can get ready for round number 2. I don't think that lap is in doubt at all. Bell across the line does not improve. He will stay 9th quick. Austin Dillon right behind him does not improve, so Dillon will not jump up into the top 5.
No, he won't, but there are other drivers out there. Ryan Preece, William Byron, Kyle Busch also on the racetrack trying to find some extra speed to improve to bump A.J. Allmendinger out of the top 5. One thing we have to pay close attention to is per we're seeing about 0.2 of a second. We're we got a car way off race course. I'm not sure. That looks like it's going so towards the boot down there, and it's Carson Hocevar has made his way towards the entrance of the boot. Not sure what the problem is for Carson Hocevar's car, but the track remains under green conditions.
And AJ is still 5th. We'll try to follow up when we can actually see Hocevar. He is darn near out of sight. The car has just come to a stop there. So we'll follow up as soon as we know what's going on with AJ. Again, everything appears to be everything okay. Listening in on the radio, no surprise, Chris Wilner.
No, Jeff, and at this point, he just came over the radio and said, I don't know what happened. I'm so confused. He's just sitting there, so they're trying to diagnose if they can get it refired or not, but certainly a puzzling situation here as the clock expires here in Group B.
Yeah, as they continue on, Carson Hocevar's car is the one that stopped again on the racetrack. He went way off the racetrack, did Carson Hocevar, backed the car all the way up, and he's trying to get it righted again. But, boy, he is in a very precarious spot on the course.
On exit of turn number 5, or the carousel leading back to the timing line, and he is just off course and sitting there waiting for everybody to come by. As when they do come by, they are absolutely flying, trying to get back to the timing line. Good news for AJ right now. Ty Gibbs gave it a flyer lap, comes up short, and Hocevar now begins to roll, and I believe everybody has completed a lap. Truex, Bowman, Cindric, Suarez, and AJ Allmendinger. That is your top 5. Still trying to figure out just exactly what happened with Hocevar as he exited off of turn number 5. The car just kept going straight.
Yeah, he went down the boot portion of the race course, which is not used for NASCAR configuration. When you come off of turn number 5, if you're running that configuration in an open wheel car, you kind of keep it wide left and go on down the hill. That's where Hocevar went. Not sure if there was a problem with the car and he just simply wanted to get it off the course, or if he just simply misjudged it and carried it on down towards the boot.
Well, whatever. We'll see if we can shake it down for you and find out why. Round 1 done. Fast 10 on deck from Watkins Glen International. This is the Motor Racing Network, the voice of NASCAR.
This is Steve Post. If you love sprint cars, you'll love Wing Nation. All the latest sprint car news and interviews from the stars of sprint car racing from around the country. Join Ashley Strumming, Aaron Evernham, and me every Tuesday on Motor Racing Networks and Wing Nation's Facebook pages. We go live with the weekend's winners and newsmakers from around the country. You can also find the podcast of all past shows on YouTube or subscribe to the podcast on any of your favorite podcast providers. Wing Nation, all sprint cars, all the time.
Relive the thrills of over 50 years of NASCAR racing with the Motor Racing Network's Classic Race.
36th Annual Southern 500. They come down to the start-finish line. Bill Elliott and David Pearson get down.
We dig into the MRN audio vault for unforgettable races and moments.
Dale Jarrett's got the lead. Earnhardt's not going to get him. Dale Jarrett is going to win the Daytona 500.
Available on MRN.com and podcast platform.
Alan Kulwicki out of turn number 4, the new Winston Cup champion. He does it across the line.
MRN Classic Races.
Round 1 done. Round 2 with the Fast 10 coming up. One Toyota has moved in to the top 10. That is Martin Truex Jr. How does it all shake out, Alex?
Well, with the teams, here's how it works. 7 different organizations are represented. Two and both from Trackhouse with Ross Chastain and Daniel Suarez advanced. 2 from Colleague Racing, Shane Van Gisbergen and A.J. Allmendinger. 2 from Team Penske with Joey Logano and Austin Cindric. And then you got 1 Stewart-Haas Racing car and Noah Gragson. The Front Row Motorsports Ford with Michael McDowell. The 1 Toyota from Joe Gibbs Racing was Martin Truex Jr. It was the fastest lap of the entire session. And then 1 Hendrick Motorsports car in Alex Bowman. He also advanced 7 organizations. That is 5 Chevrolets, 4 Fords, and 1 Toyota.
And we'll see him back on the racetrack in about 8 or 9 minutes. Before we do that, let's go back downstairs. Chris?
William Byron, one of our playoff drivers that failed to make the second round. William, how would you just assess the morning, what you guys have learned, and maybe what was lacking there in qualifying?
Half a tenth, so
That's about it. But yeah, we just need to work on the bounce a little bit, clean up a few things, go focus on this Xfinity race now and see what we got there.
Okay, what did you learn about the racetrack that'll help you in terms of how to attack it when we go Xfinity racing?
I don't know how much will really apply in that car. It's a little bit different overall, but just trying to learn about this tire so far and learned a couple little things.
All right, appreciate your time. William Byron, guys, unfortunately out of qualifying here for the Cup Series. He's got double duty Xfinity race coming up here in just a little bit.
He does indeed. Focusing right now on NASCAR Cup Series. Who's going to be the pole winner for the Go Bowling at the Glen? It will not be Chase Elliott or Denny Hamlin. They did not make the final 10. Why is that significant? Well, between Chase Elliott and Denny Hamlin, they've combined to win the last 4 pole positions here at Watkins Glen International.
Shane Van Gisbergen, Ross Chastain, Joey Logano, Noah Gragson, Michael McDowell, Martin Truex Jr., Alex Bowman, Austin Cindric, Daniel Suarez, and A.J. Allmendinger. Pick out which driver you think will be the one that will lead the field of the Go Bowling at the Glen, coming your way tomorrow afternoon. Just as a reminder, our airtime, NASCAR Live Race Day on the Motor Racing Network, coming your way at 2 o'clock Eastern Time. And William Byron, by the way, said, you know what, I'm done here with the Cup car. Time to refocus and get ready for the Xfinity race. And our airtime coming up at 2:30.
For the Mission Foods 200 at the Glen. Looking forward to that one and how that plays out. You know, more times than not, the Xfinity Series race at any given racetrack is a much shorter distance race. Yes, it is shorter here this weekend as well, but by only, 8 laps shorter than what the NASCAR Cup Series race is, I think is the number. But the Xfinity race, the Cup race here at Watkins Glen, very, very similar.
Yeah, we're going to go 82 laps here this afternoon. We'll go 90 laps tomorrow. So just about the same distance, just 8 laps, like Alex said, shorter. All right, where in the world was Hocevar headed? Let's find out. Postman?
Yeah, let's find out with Carson Hocevar down here as he's kind of in a little debrief mode. And Carson's asked us just to take a few more minutes as he's continuing to work with Luke Lambert on looking some of the telemetry. So we'll grab Carson here in just a few moments and kind of get a better read. But he's trying to understand what happened out there as well. And him and Luke are back in debrief mode.
Yeah, well, that was awkward. Never seen that happen here in a NASCAR Cup car going that far down towards the boot portion of the racetrack that we do not use for NASCAR racing. From Watkins Glen International, this is the Motor Racing Network, the voice of NASCAR.
Welcome to Homestead Miami, your home for the racing highlight. A track as vibrant and colorful as South Florida. An Xfinity and Craftsman Truck Series playoffs doubleheader on Saturday. A Cup Series playoffs showdown on Sunday. And it's all caliente.
Side by side for the race lead.
NASCAR playoffs weekend at Homestead Miami Speedway, October 26th and 27th. Get your tickets now at homesteadmiamispeedway.com.
Hell of a job, guys.
We are the voice of NASCAR.
The green flag is in the air, and we are underway. The Great American Race.
The Motor Racing Network. NASCAR Cup, Xfinity, and Craftsman Truck Series Racing live on your hometown radio station and MRN or NASCAR.com. Martinsville, Talladega, the Chicago Street Course. We have the side-by-side action and last lap passes for the win.
Photo finishes. Ryan Blaney will win.
The voice of NASCAR, the Motor Racing Network.
Back here at Watkins Glen International, the final 10 drivers getting set for their last attempt to qualify. Will set the top 10 positions, including pole winner. How will this work? Well, they'll have the same type of format where they all can go on the racetrack at once. They can spread it out however they want to do it, run as many laps as you want. The difference between round 1 to this final round is instead of 15 minutes on the clock, there will be just 10 minutes on the clock.
I would imagine, crew chief, it'll be a one and done. They just go out there and cut the absolute best lap you can. If you don't, do you just bring it onto pit road and say, okay, you know what, that's going to do it, just based on the tire fall off and the tire wear that we have seen through practice and qualifying?
I would think that, but the question mark that comes to me is Shane Van Gisbergen took 2 laps to get P1 in the first stage. A.J. Allmendinger, likewise, took 2 laps to get his fast lap in. I don't know that lap 2 might not be faster. The tires get a little bit of heat in them. What are you going to lose? You might as well, if you don't think you got it all, I wouldn't be surprised, given that there's a data point that said that lap 2 was faster for a couple guys, maybe you run 2 laps here.
Even Chase Briscoe said a moment ago, coming to the end of his session, he went 0.6 of a second faster on his second or third lap. He's not sure why, as he told us on air. Didn't make any sense, but he did. So who knows how that'll work. The other thing that I think you got to factor into this, given the tire allotments that these teams are going to have for tomorrow's race, this set of tires can be carried over to the race as another set that they can use during the event. So do you continue to put laps on them, knowing that potentially you could have to put this set of tires on the car tomorrow?
And I would also add an asterisk to Shane Van Gisbergen's 2 laps. That first lap, he came out and took a lap, but he was not in a flyer lap. So I'm not sure he used up all of that Goodyear. True. But to your point, obviously, drivers like AJ and some of the others did. Back downstairs to the postman. Steve, what have we learned?
Well, Carson Hocevar is down there. Carson, what happened?
We've been fighting a steering issue the whole time. And then I rolled back, and then you don't have a spotter there, and I couldn't really see, and then stalled it, and saw one car fly by, and I was like, okay, I'll just sit here till I could know there's nobody flying at me. Once I could try and get it refired, and they said just sit there for a second, and they'll try and look at SMT and find a hole. So, yeah, our car doesn't do anything good. If the only thing that we missed out on was wrecking it, so we can go fix it and try to find the real problem. But yeah, hopefully we'll be able to figure it out here, and yeah, hopefully the steering rack's the issue. But the problem is we lost 40 minutes of practice to know if our car is any good or not.
Oh, boy, that's frustration. Appreciate the time. I know you've been a pretty significant debrief down here. We wish you guys well in pinpointing the problem and getting ready to go tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, these guys work really hard, and yeah, I'm not sure what the true problem is, but yeah, these guys work really hard, and they built fast race cars. So regardless of once we get it fixed, I'm sure these guys would spend all night if it meant we're going to have our car perfect for tomorrow.
I am sure they will. Carson Hocevar, we appreciate his time there as he got some kind of bugaboo in the steering, and they're working on trying to figure that out. And Todd, I'm going to bring you in on that. When you have some kind of bugaboo like that, how unnerving is it with this situation and not 100% sure what it is?
Yeah, the unknowns are the ones that always bother you the most. So in this situation, as long as NASCAR would allow me to, I would replace everything that has to do with the power steering system, whether it be the rack and pinion, the power steering pump, even the lines between the two, not knowing if I've got one that internally collapses at some place. I would just remove, replace, start afresh tomorrow.
You know what's crazy about this whole thing? We talk about the good. You know, that car is just a rocket. And I'm going to exaggerate. And my car is garbage. It's absolutely the worst thing out there. I can't even drive it. And the separation between the fastest car, Alex, and the car that's not on a track like this might be a second and a half.
It's phenomenal. It really is. That's how tight NASCAR Cup Series racing is. Clock has started. 10 minutes and counting now to find out who's going to win pole position for the Go Bowling at the Glen while the drivers come up to speed. Let's step away and pause 10 seconds for station identification on the Motor Racing Network. Motor Racing Network live at Watkins Glen International. Pole qualifying ongoing for the Go Bowling at the Glen. Along with Jeff Striegel and Todd Gordon, I'm Alex Hayden with Steve Post and Chris Wilner on the pit lane.
Trackhouse boys are on the racetrack, and the clock is winding down already. 8 minutes, 45 seconds remain. The first one to clip the timing line in between turns 5 and 6. Daniel Suarez. He's got his teammate Ross Chastain right behind. The other driver that is on the racetrack, 3 of the 10 at the moment, is Alex Bowman. So the first one to go under the clock will be Daniel Suarez.
Suarez won at Atlanta Motor Speedway in a thrilling photo finish earlier this year. Nearly backed it up and swept Atlanta. Great run last week for Suarez, and a pretty good qualifying effort here is guaranteed a top 10 starting spot. Suarez already off the 90, and he'll begin to climb the hill up the S's on the other side of the race course.
Daniel Suarez, the 32-year-old driver from Monterrey, Mexico, the Trackhouse Racing Chevrolet. Daniel Suarez.
Suarez up on the backstretch now as he takes that blue, green, and white Camaro up there, stabs the brakes and sets it up for the inner loop. That is the right, left, right combination as they throw those cars around. Now painted curbing down there is blue, yellow, and red.
And now through the carousel that is turn 5. Here comes Suarez back off 5. The timing line dead ahead to him along with turn 6, that left-hand 90-degree turn. So Suarez will complete his first lap.
1 minute, 12 seconds and some change. That equals 121.225 miles per hour for Daniel Suarez. His Trackhouse Racing teammate Ross Chastain will eclipse that mark and eclipse it heftily by 0.6 of a second. So Chastain goes to position number 1.
The 31-year-old driver from Elva, Florida, Trackhouse Racing Chevrolet. Ross Chastain, best speed 122.279 miles an hour on the clock. That's 1 minute 12 seconds, 0.130. Only other driver, Alex, on the track at the moment is Alex Bowman.
And he's the only Hendrick Motorsports driver to reach the final 10 in qualifying. One on the streets of Chicago back in the month of July. Here is Alex Bowman now up through turn number 5, headed for the alternate finish line.
31-year-old driver from Tucson, Arizona. Bowman headed to the line. Chastain's got it at the moment. Suarez is second. He's not anymore. He'll be third. Alex Bowman, second quick to Ross Chastain. If they're waiting, why are they waiting? Let's find out. Chris?
Well, Jeff, one of the things we heard Steve Post talk about is maybe waiting for a clear track but for Shane Van Gisbergen, they just released him out of his pit box. They're actually watching the weather. We've got some puffy clouds around. Of course, nothing imminent in terms of precipitation by any means, but certainly getting some of the track cool by some of the cloud cover. They're waiting for some of these puffy clouds to eclipse the sun, and right now they may have it perfectly timed for when Shane Van Gisbergen gets up to speed. So your round 1 quickest in Group A, certainly trying to play a little bit of the weather game to try to get maximum track temperature here for that Chevrolet.
Shane Van Gisbergen on the track. Austin Cindric also on the race course. Down to 5.5 minutes to go here in this final round of qualifying. Shane Van Gisbergen being gentle on the Goodyear tires, as he no need to abuse them on his coming up to speed lap until he gets to that short straightaway where he is right now, and he'll stand on the loud pedal.
35-year-old driver from Auckland, New Zealand. Another colleague Chevrolet, Shane Van Gisbergen behind the wheel. The other car that you mentioned on the racetrack, one of the Team Penske Ford Mustangs, the 26-year-old driver from Mooresville, North Carolina, and that is Austin Cindric. Across the line, Alex Hayden, this is the driver that we want to keep an eye on. He is so good here.
That's Shane Van Gisbergen. He downshifts as he makes his way into the 90. Turn number 1. Goes up and over the curbing. Uses all the runoff room to his advantage. Remember, Shane Van Gisbergen took 2 laps to get his fast time in round number 1. He's got an extra lap on his tires compared to everybody else.
And Martin Truex Jr. now rolling out of his pit stall and down pit road. Noah Gragson will follow. Business has to pick up soon. We're down to just 4 minutes to go. Shane Van Gisbergen through the inner loop, now headed to the carousel to complete his lap.
Here he is up off turn number 5. Through the gearbox he goes one more time for the alternate finish line, headed to turn number 6. Will it be enough to knock Ross Chastain off the top?
And here he comes now in between turns 5 and 6. It is not. Alex Hayden, second quick for Shane Van Gisbergen, and Ross Chastain will hold the top spot. Right behind Shane comes Austin Cindric.
We'll see if Van Gisbergen elects to stay on the track and go for another lap. He will not. Well, yeah, he is. He's going to stay on the racetrack at a reduced rate of speed, potentially just going to cool the tires down one more time on this WeatherTech Chevrolet Camaro. So Shane Van Gisbergen is going to definitely go around and try to give it another go as the clock gets down to 3.5 minutes remaining in qualifying.
Austin Cindric, fourth quick. So it's Chastain, Van Gisbergen, Bowman, and Cindric and Suarez, top 5. Now Martin Truex Jr. on the racetrack. AJ, Allmendinger, Noah Gragson, and Joey Logano all on the racetrack together.
Joey Logano's down in turn number 1 on his flyer lap here in this final round of qualifying. Logano in those famed Shell Pennzoil colors for his Ford Mustang out of the Team Penske stables.
Logano, the 34-year-old driver from Middletown, Connecticut, as Suarez has taken 2 laps, but he will remain 5th quick. So we've got some fast cars on the track. Truex had a very, very fast lap earlier in his qualifying effort, round 1. Truex looking good on course as well.
Yeah, he is. We'll find out if he can back up that outstanding lap in his first round of qualifying for Martin Truex Jr. He works his way up the long backstretch, stands on the brakes, and sets up for the inner loop.
And again, that's that right, left, left, right. He's already through it just that quick. Now to the carousel. That is a sweeping 180-degree left-hand turn. Make that a right-hand turn. Off 5 he comes, and back to the timing line.
Here he comes back to the line. Will it be enough to knock Ross Chastain off the top of the leaderboard? The answer is no. It will be second fastest for Truex. What a lap put down by Ross Chastain. What a day it's been for Ross Chastain.
Yeah, we talked to him earlier. He liked his race car, and for good reason. It's the fastest one on the property so far. And we've got just a couple of more to go, including A.J. Allmendinger. He is yet to roll. And Michael McDowell. Now they're rolling. They just have yet to complete the lap. It's Chastain, Truex, and Shane Van Gisbergen, your top 3.
Noah Gragson will be 8th of the 8 drivers that have taken a time so far, but he is going to stay on the racetrack and try to gain more on another opportunity. Michael McDowell has now begun his fast flying lap. He'll make his way down to turn number 1 as A.J. Allmendinger's just popped up to the number 6 position now in qualifying.
Well, Ross Chastain beginning to breathe, but maybe not so fast. You still got Michael McDowell, who is out on course right now. This would be his first lap in the second round, a 39-year-old driver from Glendale, Arizona. Could this be the day, though, for Ross Chastain?
Could very well be. Ross Chastain, of course, missed the playoffs, and this is a tough one. So how do you make headlines and how do you get attention? Well, you go out and you run at the front of the field. He was great in practice, obviously backing that up here in qualifying. It's not over yet. We're still down to final 28 seconds remaining, and there are cars still on the track in flyer laps.
Including Michael McDowell. He comes across the line, and McDowell 10th quick. 10th quick. Noah Gragson stays on course. And for Ross Chastain, here's a little known stat. This will be career pole number 2. For Ross Chastain, his only other pole came at the Nashville Super Speedway. He did that a year ago. So Ross Chastain may be the driver. Noah Gragson, Michael McDowell still on course as the clock winds down and expires.
It has expired, so those drivers that have begun their lap from the alternate start-finish line between turns 5 and 6 will indeed have the opportunity to complete these laps. Ross Chastain, yeah, he's breathing a little easier, perhaps a little bit of a grin. We'll wait and see if it turns into a smile in these next 30 seconds.
Michael McDowell down the back straightaway, headed to the inner loop. Noah Gragson there as well. McDowell throwing that Ford Mustang back and forth around the carousel, back to the line. Noah Gragson has completed his lap, not even close. It's all down to this. McDowell off turn number 5 and back to the line.
Michael McDowell slides the car very wide on exit of turn number 5. pedaling as quick as he can down the short straightaway. It's not enough, and Ross Chastain has won the pole for the Go Bowling at the Glen. What a run by Ross Chastain.
122 miles an hour, 1 minute, 12 seconds. Good enough to lead the field of the Go Bowling at the Glen for the NASCAR Cup Series career pole number 2 for Ross Chastain from Watkins Glen International. This is the Motor Racing Network, the voice of NASCAR.
Feel like you're in the driver's seat and never miss a second of the race action with Racing Electronics. Racing Electronics scanners allow you to listen in on uncensored audio from your favorite drivers, spotters, and crews the entire race. Hear team strategy with critical passes, dangerously close calls, and all the pit stop drama. To learn more, visit them at racingelectronics.com. Be race ready. Be RE equipped.
Drivers, start your engines!
Your home for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series.
Green flag goes in the air, and we are underway.
The Motor Racing Network.
2 by 2 by 2. They're about 10 rows deep of double-wide racing. Taylor Gray to the bottom. Nick Sanchez outside, and they're crashing mid-pack.
The voice of NASCAR, the Motor Racing Network.
Checkered flag is in the air, and Corey Heim has scored the win. Career pole number 2, the driver that will lead the field to the Go Bowling at the Glen. His name is Ross Chastain.
Ross Chastain down here just gets a big hug from Phil Surgeon. Justin Marks getting the big hug as well. Ross, it's a pole position, but seems like a lot of emotion tied to this. What does this mean to you to win a pole position here on a road course at Watkins Glen?
Oh, it's incredible, Postman, from following Justin Marks, my now owner, around in an Xfinity car, in practice and qualifying at these places, trying to learn, to going to Skip Barber driving school and learning from their instructors. Chevrolet has sent me to Spring Mountain with Ron Fellows and his group of instructors, our DIL simulator. There's just been so many laps, so many days, so many years ago have went into this that Josh Wise and Scott Speed and their Chevy program, it's just so many people. It's not just one thing. It's so many people that have built me and prepared me for that moment. We were able to do it. It's unbelievable.
Okay, so the car is really good on a qualifying lap. How did the practice go? How did you feel that the car performed over longer runs? Because tomorrow's going to be more than just one quick lap.
Yeah, well, luckily we had 2 practices. So practice 1, it fell off really hard, and we weren't very good. And we made some adjustments, and we knew that we were going to have a second practice, so we shot one side of the fence on some adjustments, and we adjusted those. And for our Busch Light Chevy, it brought it into a place where I could just flatline the lap time. I wasn't able to go as fast as I wanted right off the bat, so I was a little worried about qualifying, but it paid off at the end of the run. And so Phil Surgeon and the mics on this car, they made the right adjustments right there, and to back up, to go faster in round 2 than we did in round 1 was unbelievable.
Second career pole, and that's on a road course. Congratulations.
Thank you, Postman. It's unbelievable.
Unbelievable. Ross Chastain down here taking it all in. Big accomplishment for this young racer that ran the oval tracks to be the fastest here today on a road course.
Yeah, he is. He'll lead the field to the green flag for the Go Bowling at the Glen. We're going to get off the air here for about 15 or so minutes. Be back with you at the bottom of the hour, 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time, for the NASCAR Xfinity Series race, the Mission Foods 200 at the Glen. Connor Zillich will lead the field to the green flag there. On behalf of Steve Post, Chris Wilner, Todd Gordon, Jeff Striegel, I'm Alex Hayden. All of us with MRN congratulate Ross Chastain, the pole winner for the Go Bowling at the Glen.
Motor Racing Network's coverage of practice and pole qualifying for the Go Bowling at the Glen has come to you from Watkins Glen International. Presented on MRN by E3 Spark Plugs. Powerful and fuel efficient. Find E3 at your nearest auto parts store. Our coverage has come to you under an exclusive radio license granted by Watkins Glen International to the Motor Racing Network, solely for the non-commercial use of our listening audience. Any use of the descriptions and accounts of this event without the express written permission of the Motor Racing Network is prohibited. Today's broadcast was directed by Ryan Horn. Broadcast engineer Steve Fridley. Studio engineer Andy Pachenik. Audio engineer Craig Moore. The president of MRN is Chris Schwartz. Follow NASCAR every day at MRN.com. This broadcast was a production of the Motor Racing Network.